Bobo's restaurant. Gonna have a little lunch, then get a little bit tipsy. See what we can get into on the way.
Alright. Go juice. We made it to downtown Lynchburg. The restaurant's just right back over there. But it's not open yet. Our reservation's at 11 o'clock. So we're going to wander around and see what we can find.
Oh, they even got a Harley Davidson shop. Smell the whiskey.
That brings back horrible memories. Down and play chess with Jack Daniels.
You ready, old timer? All right, kick my ass.
There's your barrelhead.
Yeah. They got a clock that's over there, it's $100.
So we're walking over to Mary Bobo's reservation at 11.
15.
Gonna go get some lunch and then we're gonna go on a tour.
There's some fried chicken. The South. Either that or roasted pork tenderloin.
It's a cute little town. I can't believe I've never been here.
I ain't never been here. I've been down here, picked up a load one time. That's it.
Ooh, my red
It's
little
warm
face.
today though. Nicer than last week.
Last weekend it was like in the 50s. Holy moly, what a difference. I think it's the humidity though. This is Mary Bobo's. Cute little place we're going for lunch.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are y'all? Do y'all have reservations?
Yes, ma'am, 11:15 flowers.
To the Evans Road.
Nice.
Yes, y'all are special. That's a very special room.
I was wondering.
Well, that was Miss Bobo's dining room. We're taking a shortcut. This table. Yeah, when before COVID, this room would have had a large rectangular table, and everyone would have sat like maybe 12 people would sit at the same table with a hostess. That I would have told you stories, poured your tea and things like that. But since COVID, we've had to change the way we do things. So.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
At least you're open.
We are open, yes. And you're welcome when other people come in and sit down to still get acquainted with them. Them, because that was the thing, we always introduced and,
We go on cruises and we like to sit at a big table with a bunch of people.
Yeah, it was fun. And every room was like that. Some of the rooms, like this room, still has the large round table, the room beside us, which was Miss Bobo's kitchen. It was a really tiny room. Has a small round easy table. And then there's 2 dining rooms downstairs, and one still has a large rectangular table, and one has the round table. But this part of the house is 200 years old.
Oh, wow.
About 1820. This room and the room next to us. Now, when Mrs. Bobo bought it, and there's some history on the back, she bought the house in 1908. She was married, but she bought it, not she and her husband, and which was very unusual at that time for a woman to do that. Mm-hmm. She was a woman ahead of her time, and she ran a boarding house. The original kitchen was the room down on the lower level, below this, what was her kitchen. It had a brick floor and brick walls. And you're welcome to walk around afterwards and look at that. There's a spring where they got their water, and also stored like butter and milk and things that's down on that level. So the part you came in was built after the Civil War. So that's kind of old too. And then the new kitchen and all that was built about 15 years ago. Restrooms are actually out here on the porch in the restroom. So, but I will tell your server that you're here and you can send someone in to get your orders.
All right, thank you.
So that was pretty cool. You get a little history tour with it.
200-year-old house, I bet. Ours won't be up for 200 years, I bet.
It's just so cute. It's typical plantation house. They still have like the old windows and stuff. You put the bubble glass. I don't know how well it shows up on the camera.
Pretty simple. You just tell them what you want: 2 meats and 3 sides, or 2 meats and 5 sides. Had to have some fudge pie.
Whipped cream. Or Jack Daniels whipped cream.
They got the candied apples. It's got alcohol in it. Mary can't have that. She'll fall off the back of the bike.
No, I'm not going to record us eating because you know we're not about that. Candied apples full of Jack Daniels. Mary Bobo's fried chicken. Pork crust. Potatoes and mac and cheese. You ready to grub?
I'm ready to grub down. My donut's gone. here, go do a wine tasting. You gotta pay for 5, or how many ever. There's 2 of you. Pick different ones. That way you get to try all of them.
We are known to be the wettest, the driest county in the world. Every single drop of Jack Daniels for the world is made right here in Moore County, Tennessee. Okay? Now, I really don't consider us much of a dry county. I can't consider us a damp county. You can purchase beer here. You can even get a cold beer in a couple restaurants. But what you're not going to be able to get is a Jack and Coke. If you want a Jack and Coke and a steak, you're going to drive 20 minutes in any direction. As an employee at Jack, the first Friday of every month, yesterday, along with my paycheck, they gave me a bottle of Old Number 7. Yeah. What do we call that day, Miss Allison?
That's our Good Friday.
Yeah.
Good Friday. Something good.
Now, my wife works here, so I get 2 bottles. You look at this building here, it looks like an old prison, doesn't it? It's exactly what it is, folks. That's a prison for whiskey. That is one of our 92 barrel houses here at Jack. Their barrel house holds a little over 20,000 barrels at 53 gallons apiece. That's a little bit over 1 million gallons of whiskey in that one barrel house. Gentleman Jack is just Old Number 7, but we've mellowed it twice. So once it comes off the still, it's going to drop 1 drop at a time through that sugar maple charcoal. Go into the barrel houses. It's going to sit there for 4 years at least. Once the barrel goes into the barrel house, in about 4 years, the taster's going to go in there and start tasting whiskey. If it's mature and it meets the cut, they'll bring it out and bottle it. If not, they leave it right where it's at. They'll come back in 6 months to a year and try it again. Once we mingle that all together, we'll take it down to charcoal mellowing if we're going to bottle Gentleman Jack with it. This time, we're going to push it through 3 foot of charcoal under a little bit of pressure. You hold those bottles up side by side, you're going to see a Gentleman Jack's just a little lighter in color than Old Number 7. Okay? By running it through that charcoal twice, we're taking a little bit more of that corn oil and fatty acids off. We're smoothing that whiskey out just a little bit more. Doesn't have as much finish as Old Number 7 has. Only difference between those 2 bottles. We're going to go down to our rick yard. This is where we make our charcoal at. Now we're going to use a hard sugar maple to make our charcoal. The same sugar maple they use up north for maple syrup. The sugar maple that we use is going to be coals from the furniture industry, pieces of wood they couldn't use for furniture. We have 2 sawmills that supply us with that lumber. It's going to be brought to us in stacks of what we call a rick. Rick is just a measurement of wood. Now, we'll leave it out here in the rick yard for another 6 months to finish drying out. The drier that wood is, the better the charcoal is going to be. I told you about Good Friday. These stairs down here, watch these stairs, because whoever laid them out must have been Saturday after that Good Friday. Once you get to them, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
They're all different.
We're going to make charcoal first thing in the morning. They only make charcoal here as they need it, so they're going to make it about 3 days a week. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. If you ever want to try to catch them doing a live burn, be here on Monday, be the first tour out in the day. That's your best chance to catch them making charcoal. If we tried to use the charcoal when it was first done, it's going to be too large for us. The whiskey will flow around it and not through it. It's not going to take the fatty acids off like we want. It's going to be like this. So they'll take it to this building next door. They're going to run it through a grinder. They'll grind this down to pea size. Now they're going to hand pack 10 foot of that pea size charcoal into a mellowing vat. We have 72 mellowing vats here at Jack. We make just a little bit of whiskey. Jack wasn't born here in Lynchburg. He was actually born about 5 miles south of here. He was the last born of 10 children. His mother died shortly after he was born. Now with 10 kids running around, you can imagine it didn't take long for Dad to remarry. When Jack's dad remarried, Jack and his stepmother did not get along. One night, Jack decided he had had enough. He felt he was a full-grown man. He was right around 7 or 8 years old. He decided to leave home. He went about a mile down the road to Dan Call's farm. Now, Dan Call was a local Lutheran minister. He had 2 children of his own. He could always use another hand, so he took Jack in. Now, Dan was a local Lutheran minister. He had a dry goods shop. He also had a whiskey store. Now, this was back before the War and Emancipation. So he had an enslaved man by the name of Nathan near his green. Now, that's an important name to remember. Now, Nathan's job on the farm was to oversee Dan's whiskey still. With Jack being such a young boy, it didn't take him long to find that still. Once he found the still, he started pestering Dan and Nathan to learn how to make whiskey. I would too at 8 years old. Want to learn a trade. Well, finally wears him down. Dan gave Nathan the okay. Nathan taught Jack how to make whiskey. So now you got the 3 of them making whiskey there on the farm. Things are rolling along pretty good. But you got to remember, Dan's a minister. Getting really hard to preach about the spirits on Sunday when you're making those spirits all week long. So before his congregation can approach him about that, he decides to get out of the whiskey business. Jack gets the still. Now you have Nathan and Jack making whiskey on the farm. But Jack's got to lease the land and buy the water, so that's cutting into his profit. So he had heard there was a cave spring here in Lynchburg. He came down here and found this cave spring right around 1881, packed up his still and brought it down here. Now we're about to go back there and see this cave spring. Now, every drop of water for Jack since that time has come from this cave spring. Okay? Let's go take a look at it.
Is it like Willy Wonka's chocolate river? You can't touch it with your human hands.
It already feels cooler.
Yep.
When you came into the visitor center today, you were greeted by that Italian marble statue of Jack. Mr. Lem, Jack's favorite nephew, had that statue commissioned in 1941. That statue used to stand out here at the cave spring. Well, in 2000, when we finished the visitor center, we moved that statue inside. Starting to weather. So, we wanted to put a new statue out here. But we wanted a younger, life-size version of Jack out here at the cave spring. Did we not do a good job? No, we did. No. Likeness is perfect. But folks, I'm 6'1". Jack only stood 5'2". This statue should only been that tall. Jack wore a size 4 ensue. Size 7. Ask the artist, what were you possibly thinking? Jack was larger than life. I made him that way. Quick thinking on his feet. Must have been an NCO in the Army. Now, this is a famous spot in Moore County. It's the one and only place you can get yourself a free shot of Jack on the Rocks. Jack is not a morning person. He has 2 bars down there on the square. He had to close those bars down at night. So he didn't get here till about noon each day. Lem would be here as the sun come up over the morning. He'd get things going here at the distillery. He'd open up Jack's safe, put his paperwork on his desk. Jack would roll in around 12 o'clock. One morning, Jack came in here early. He beat Lem to the office. So he's knelt down in front of that safe with his lantern. He's running through the numbers. It's been so long since he'd opened up his own safe, he forgot his combination. He gets mad, kicks the safe with his left foot, broke a toe. Now his pride's hurt. So instead of going to the doctor, he hobbles around on that foot. Instead of going to the doctor, by the time he went to the doctor, gangrene had set in. Medicine not being what it is today, they had to amputate his foot. That poison kept spreading up his legs, so they amputated below the knee. Jack was 61 years old trying to save his life. They amputated what was left of his left leg. Jack ended up dying of blood poisoning and complications from kicking that safe. Now, here's the thing. Jack loved music. He loved to dance. He lived with his sister. They had a 3-story house. The top floor was a ballroom. Jack was known for his dances and parties that he used to host. Now, he couldn't do any of that his last 6 years of life. When he died, he left us a moral that we live by here in Lynchburg every day. don't come to work early. We all get here 5 minutes before our shift.
Lord, who needs a glass? Kind of makes your eyes water. Oh my God, y'all, I can't even tell you what it smells like in here. It will punch you in the face when you walk through the door.
I wish they'd give me a clear bottle. Be easier to do. Now, if we ran that through 10 foot of charcoal, it would be almost clear. We don't want a clear whiskey. We want some color on it. Now, when I go to drink this, I'm gonna typically at my house, this is gonna be used for a mix. This and Old Number 7, if you want to come to my house and have a drink of whiskey neat, I'm going to give you single barrel select or barrel proof or Gold 27. Now, if you don't like whiskey, bear with me. I have one here that I think you might like. Now, if you don't pick up the same flavors that I pick up, don't be worried. Everybody's palate's going to be a little different. Just because I'm describing something that you don't get doesn't mean your taste buds are bad. Now, if you come to me and you tell me you're tasting peppermint, we might have a problem, okay? So, what's everybody think of Jumpin' Jack? Not bad. It's not my favorite. I like more finish on mine. All right. Right here, you see a square bottle with a black label. Not because you can say it easy after 3 of them either. The vanilla in the Coke is going to pair very well with the vanilla in the Jack. So go ahead and try this one.
Cheers. Oh, that makes me think of high school.
Now, who here likes rye? Okay? I got any regular rye whiskey drinkers?
I do like it. I've never tried it.
Never tried it? All right. I am a very simple guy. Never drink rye whiskey because I didn't like rye bread. Okay? So 4 years ago, before I became a tour guide, decided I gotta try some of this whiskey to see what it's gonna taste like. Save a little bit of your honey and save a little bit of the apple for the end, where you mix those two together and make a caramel apple, okay? Now, Tennessee honey, this stuff is great in ginger ale. So Saturday nights, I get my bowl of butter pecan ice cream. I'm old, I'm not gonna lie. I grab the honey at the same time. Drizzle that honey on top of my butter pecan. Try it. You'll never eat butter pecan without it again. All right, so go ahead and try this one. Now, our liqueurs are all going to start off with Old Number 7. Then we're going to infuse the flavors into them. For our Tennessee honey, we're going to infuse Parley flavoring, molasses and honey into that. We'll use ionized water to bring the proof down to 70 proof to bottom. Okay? Everybody likes that honey, doesn't it? It's our #1 best-selling liqueur. Now, Tennessee Fire. We'll infuse hot cinnamon into our Old Number 7. Use ionized water to bring that proof down to 70 proof to bottom. This stuff is fantastic in anything apple. Apple juice, apple cider, Angry Orchard beer. All right? So go ahead and try this one.
And it's a good next.
My youngest grandson, he loves this. He'll sit on my lap. I'll put my finger in the glass. I hold it out. He's on my finger like it's a nipple. I love hot cinnamon.
I like this way better than Fireball.
Now this.
Better than that SOB.
Yeah.
The devil.
It makes that with room chocolate.
Yeah.
First time I ever tried that.
It's good stuff. Everybody like that Tennessee Fire?
Yes.
All right. Now,
It has so much
Jack
more.
we've had this out for, now this here is gonna taste exactly like a green apple Jolly Rancher candy. I'm not much of a sour apple guy, so I don't like drinking this straight. But when I go fishing, I'll mix me up a jug of caramel apple, okay? Tennessee apple, Tennessee honey, bury that in my ice chest so it's good and cold. By the end of the day, I don't even bother baiting the hook. I'll drink this all day long, folks. So go ahead and try this one. And if you save a little bit of that honey, mix them at the end.
That's already selling, already.
It smells good.
This one
You
here?
can get it, it's
Wow. That's good to hear, because when we first released it, it had a huge response in the tasting. And then it kind of petered out, so, I don't know. But I'm not a sour apple. I'm just not a sour apple guy. But when they finally said, hey, mix it with the honey, I was like, oh, we got a whole new ballgame.
Really low.
Mixed all three of them together.
See, the part that amazes me, when you go up to Nashville, most of the clubs up there, they all have the other brand, but Fireball is cheaper than Tennessee Fire.
It tastes like it too.
But it isn't anywhere near as good. So, out of the liqueurs, what was everybody's favorite? Honey? Okay. Fire?
Fire.
Apple? How about the caramel apple?
Yeah. That's the one.